Okay, it says I'm live. Let's hope I'm live. All right. Well, it's raining today in the UK, and just off camera we have my resident psychologist, Joey Deakins from the NHS, key worker, who will be doing the session with us today. What we're working on today is thighs, and you know what it's called, Namastay at home yoga. We're all staying home to make sure that we're really making sure that that curve's heading in the right direction. We don't need to stress on that any further than that, right? And as far as today's session, working on thighs, I mean, I know a lot of women will actually say like, ooh, I don't want to do anything thigh related in case my legs get bigger. Yoga's just going to make you more lean. You'll definitely have that more like dancer type look to you, so that's fantastic. As with all of my classes, I can't see you, that's obvious, but with that you'll have to listen to the cues that I use throughout the session. That being that it will ensure that you're trying to get your alignment or your form on point. But in addition to that, it means that there will be stages where I say if you want more, so you want to dial up the pose, or if you want less, if today's like maybe your first time to yoga, or it's been a bit of a journey for you and with yoga. Okay, so take those cues as they come. As always, check your ego. We don't want to end up with anyone that has an injury. So there's no point in pushing yourself today to be some kind of image that you think yogis should look like, what you used to have as far as your flexibility or your stability or your power in a position. Leave it all at the door. Today isn't about trying to score some kind of yoga medal. There isn't such a thing. But make sure that you're practicing safely so that we can practice together going forward. Okay, I think that's about enough from me. The only thing I would say is the positioning of your camera is the same way that I'm filming this. So place your camera long edge of the mat. I am so tricky that you will not need to face in different directions, so there's no point that you should have me sort of at the front of your mat at the short edge or somewhere behind you. The same way I've filmed it is the same way that you want your camera, and then we can run through the whole lot. All right, the session's time is going to be 45 minutes. There has been some requests for some variety. I'm longer is better in yoga, but I get we're all kind of working on restraints of time, and this is kind of veering into dinner time. I fully appreciate it. All right, let's start with just some general stretching to get started. Just gets out some of that pain and stiffness from working potentially from home. If you're a key worker and you're still going into the office, you're still getting to hospitals. Yes, Joey. Then let's get through some of that tension that you might be holding in the neck and in the shoulders. So from here, I'm in a comfortable cross-seated position. The one that you might have had, you probably sat in this way at school and assembly, primary school's coming back to me with it. If this isn't your comfortable position, if your legs are sort of screaming in this one, jump into just sitting onto your, damn straight because I'm such a good yogi, you can come and sit onto your knees. All right, I'm back into comfortable cross leg. Right, from here, we're just going to exhale, and as we do so, we're going to put our right ear to right shoulder. So exhaling, right ear, right shoulder, just making sure that you focus as well on your posture in this position. So we're pulling up through that stomach, making sure that from the head upwards, shoulders are up and back as well. We'll hold this position for 3 breaths, and you should feel a nice stretch down the side of your neck. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And as you inhale, come back to neutral, and then we drop left ear to left shoulder. If you want a little bit more in this position, you can always place your hand, a little bit of weight onto the top of the head, and you can release your counter hand, in this case it's your right hand, to the mat, so you can kind of pull just a tiny bit more. Be very careful when it comes to our neck. And you know I'm obsessed with spines because of my spinal injury. Just really be gentle. Hold this for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. And then as you inhale, coming up to neutral spine. Hands back on your knees. We're just going to do some circles with this. As you exhale, coming down chin to chest. And then we'll circle left ear, left shoulder. Looking up, looking back, feel your lungs. Start to exhale, right ear, right shoulder. Chin to chest, empty your lungs. Again, Start to inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Rolling back through, looking up, looking back. Take your time, guys. Starting to exhale, right ear, right shoulder. Emptying the lungs, chin to chest, reverse the circle. Going back, right ear, right shoulder. Looking up, looking back. Inhale, feel the lungs. Starting to exhale, right ear, right shoulder. Rolling through, exhale completely, chin to chest. One more through. Starting to inhale, right ear, right shoulder. Looking up, looking back, feel the lungs. Left ear, left shoulder. Starting to exhale, empty the lungs, chin to chest. On your inhale, back to neutral. Now we'll just work our way through the torso here, nice torso stretch. So with this one, taking your left hand, place it onto your right knee. With your right hand, dial it behind you, just sort of in line with where your hips would be. And then we're going to look over, very gently looking over, gazing past our right shoulder. Remember your breath in this position. 2 more breaths. One more breath. And as you inhale, lead with the nose. Nose comes first. Spiraling your hands around, we swap to the other side. Right hand to left knee. Placing your hand behind you. Sitting tall and then looking around. Look back, gaze over that left shoulder. Remember your breath. One more breath. And on your inhale, leading with the nose, coming back through, both hands return to neutral spine. From here, we're just going to open up through the side of the torso. So left hand starts, we place our right hand onto the ground next to us. Again, you can lean as far as you want to see how it feels. And then we're going to, almost like rainbow, imagine that you're going to take this bicep and sort of slice it through your scalp. That's how I want it, rather than in front. So coming up and behind, and then bend that elbow as much as you need. You should feel really nice stretch through the side body. We'll hold it for 2 more breaths. One more breath. And as you inhale, windmilling the arms down, left touches the floor, right comes up, remembering that we're looking to not lean forward, we're leaning through our body, bending that elbow as much as you need so that you feel that stretch. Holding that for 3 breaths, 2 breaths, and on the one, as you inhale, coming back up, back into neutral spine. I'm going to jump back onto my yoga mat. You're probably already sitting there, but it just feels nicer this way. Coming back up. I'm going to get you to come into your tabletop position. So for those that haven't done tabletop before, and yes, I'm a bit obsessed with making sure that this is done correctly, spread your palms wide, fingers spread as far as possible. You want to make sure that your hands and your elbows and your wrists are all stacked into a line, so bone on bone on bone. So it's all under your shoulders, and then you come back to look at where your legs have come. They should be, your knees should fall under your hips. So you may want to just sort of have a play to see what feels nice. Obviously I'm exaggerating that one, but it's just to make sure you've got that nice neutral spine. There should be one line from the crown of your head all the way through to your sacrum and at the back. Spine is nice and neutral. From here we'll do some cat-cows. So as you inhale, drop the belly, look up, push the mat away, tailbone is pushing towards the sky. And then as you exhale, roll through, belly drawing in, look towards your belly button, really push through that shoulder girdle, And as you inhale, rolling through, belly comes down, open up through your chest, looking up, tailbone towards the sky. And then as you exhale, rolling through, really pushing that mat away, shoulder girdles nice and round, looking towards your belly button. One more, rolling through, belly comes down, look up, open through the chest. And then as you exhale, empty all air out, looking towards your belly button, pulling that, scooping that belly in. And then coming back to neutral spine. From here, we're going to come into downward facing dog. That's your first one for the class, and I always call this one the ugly dog. Now, I never get obsessed with having beautiful yoga poses, but especially at this moment. So curl the toes under. We're going to bring the knees off the mat, push the hips back, rocking back towards our tailbone comes behind us. Now check your posture in this one. We'll do that at the end. What I'd like you to do at this moment is just have a play. Roll through, maybe come up onto your toes, really bend those knees. Maybe bring the chest towards the knees. I want you to wake up your wrists and your feet, and then take any stiffness that's in the body at the moment. We'll just roll that through. Nice little active stretch here. You might want to pedal the feet down, do it slowly, just to make sure that you're fully getting the benefit of that pedaled stretch. 2 more breaths, we'll just have a play here. I like to come up on my toes, it feels really nice to rock forward. And then maybe to the sides. Okay, from here we're going to take tiny little steps. Remember, you can bend your knees as much as you like. Tiny little steps, we're going to walk forward towards the front of our mat. Walking forward, come up onto your fingers if that helps. Just tiny steps. Just stretching through your legs. When you get to the top, try and have your feet hip distance apart. Bend the knees as generously as you like in this position. I like to, particularly for a starting forward fold, just nice bent knees, bringing my chest towards my knees and let your arms flop forward. In this position, I'd ask as well if you have any tension that's in the neck, maybe shake the head yes, and shake the head no. If it feels comfortable and you enjoy, grab both of your elbows to a bound position and then just dial it, sway ever so slightly side to side. Remember your breath, nice deep breaths. Two more. One more. And on your next inhale, let the arms drop in front. And then we're going to slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Absolutely no need to rush in this position. Slowly rolling up. The last thing to come to the top will be your head. Be the last one to rise up. When you do reach the top, just give yourself some nice shoulder rolls. So up and back, up, back, up and back, and then reverse the circle when you've done 3, bringing them up towards the ears and rolling them forward, up towards the ears and forward. Last time, up towards the ears and forward. That feels good. Okay, let's bring our feet together. And when I mean together, big toes, the arches of your feet, even your heels of your feet should all come together. We're going to come into that Tadasana, that really powerful position. If you want to work on your posture, this is what you should be working on. So let's start with our feet. Spread the toes wide. Let the feet be active. Pull energy up the front of your shins. Really engage your thighs, your glutes. Fire them up. Turn those on. Pull energy up and get length through the lower body. Open up through your spine. So open up through your chest. Roll the shoulders up and back. Hands are splayed at the side. And your chin will be level with the floor. So this is your Tadasana pose. And if you study Hatha yoga, it's called mountain, but that can get confusing. Yoga seems to have repeated some pose names. So from this is your proud stance, your really, really good posture stance. If you can imagine pinching like a small ball or a pencil between those shoulder blades. That's going to give you that posture that you're looking for. It's the most proud posture you can have. Take one big breath here. And one big exhale through the mouth. As you inhale, arms come up. Slight back bend from the upper back. And then as you exhale, diving forward into your forward fold. Lead with your chin out first. Chin's leading, don't rush it. And then coming down wherever you can. Now in this position, the temptation is to rock back onto your heels. Put the weight into the balls of your feet. So tipping almost slightly forward. And I don't care where you land on this one. I'm conscious that for such a long time, I was kind of tickling my knees in forward fold. I get stressed about that one. We're going to bend our knees. So bend your knees as generously as you need to touch the mat. We're going to step back with our right foot. In keeping that knee off the ground. I know normally in my warrior poses, I'll put them down for the first start. Keep that knee up. We're in a runner's lunge. And from here, I'm going to ask you to really engage the glutes, turn those thighs on. Pull everything in towards the midline of your body. And then we're going to come up into a high lunge. So the arms come up. You'll naturally start to unbend that front knee. I want you to sink into that front knee. Pushing that back heel back behind you. And just check. Have you got that front knee anywhere near the front of your toes? We don't want that. Nice, either 90-degree angle or even a bit shy of that. Open up through the chest. Bring the arms back towards the ears. Nice high lunge. We'll hold this for 3 more breaths. Remember, you're here for thighs. 2 more breaths. And on the one, we're going to plant that back foot. So that back foot's going to come at like a 45-degree angle. If you're one of my intermediate students, jump into Warrior 2. The rest of us are going to fix our feet. So your heel will either match up with the midline of your foot or heel to heel. And that back foot can come in. Now 45 is intense if you're new to yoga, so just dial the toes in slightly. Let's rejoin those. We're coming into Warrior 2, so arms come out. Lean into that front knee, but make sure your body doesn't follow it. So you're going to stack your heart over your pelvis, front knee bends, and we sink into that position. Your hip bones will be aiming for me at the camera. Look out over that left leg, that left hand. Sink lower. Make sure that your hands haven't dropped down. Pull your shoulders up further. Sink lower again. Holding it for 2. Pull those shoulder blades back. Pinkies come towards each other. 1 more breath. On the one, we're going to bring both hands up. Coming back into what looks like our high lunge. We're going to clasp both hands together, almost like a Charlie's Angels position. We're going to come into Warrior 1. So sinking again into that front knee. If your back foot has come up, put that back into that position. Both hips are going to be facing forward towards the short edge of your mat. Look up between your hands, sink lower, holding it for 3 breaths. Open up through that chest, 2 breaths. And on the 1, we're going to come back, open up, come back off that front leg, stretch it, straighten that one out. Whew. This should feel like it's working. We're going to come into what's called triangle pose here, or trikonasana. So, hands go back out like we're in Warrior 2. Slight micro bend in the knees, quite helpful here. Don't ever feel like you want that to overextend or worse, come into hyperextension. So with triangle, the secret to this one is make sure those back feet tucked in ever so slightly. That we are going to bump our hips back. So check that motion. Bump your hips back. We're going to imagine this left hand's being pulled, like someone off the camera here is pulling me forward. And then as you get as far forward as you can, tip further around, coming down into your triangle or trikonasana pose. In this one, the ego moment you'll have is sort of wanting to get your hand to the floor. Let me join you in not doing that. The further you come up, you might find you'll be able to open your chest. So please try and take that sort of ego check moment of, if I just come up a bit further, can I open my chest up? Look to that extended right arm and make sure that your tailbone hasn't tipped backwards. Tailbone tucked under. Holding for 3, 2, and on the 1, let's bend that front leg again. Both hands come. We've dialed it back into what feels like our high lunge. We're going to come into our warrior 3 or Vibhandra Asana 3. So for my intermediate students, jump straight in. For the rest of us, I'll take us through. With your Vibhandra 3, you might want to take a tiny little step forward. It's a balancing position, so get that point of focus, that drishti. From here, just going to sneak back so you can see. From here, you've got that point of focus. We're going to keep that front leg just slightly bent, tipping forward, pick that back foot up off the mat. Now this might be as far as you get today, celebrate that. If not, tip further. Really kick that back leg up, point your toes at the back, it'll help you. You may find bringing your hands into a namaste at your chest is quite helpful. My acharya at the ashram will probably say no, but I believe it's true, it's easier. Kick that back leg up, and as you do so, try and roll your hips down to face the mat. So your hips need to be flat. If you're an intermediate student, grab both of your hips and then maybe check to see if they're both facing the mat. Then kick your leg back further up. Holding for 3, 2, and on the 1, we're going to place that back foot down. Woof. How's your legs feeling? Probably burning, which is good. Let's bring both of our feet to face me. Hands onto your hips. We're coming into what's called goddess pose. Again, if you're intermediate, jump straight in, we'll meet you there. With goddess pose, both of your feet will be aiming at the corners of your mat. Nice wide leg stance. Again, with these kind of ones, an easy check for you, how you'll see it on the mat, is just to think, oh, are my wrists underneath? Are my wrists over my heels? If that's the case, perfect. Hands onto your hips. When we bend here, we slowly sink down as far as you can. Now the cheats the body's going to do is tip forward. Resist that urge, tuck the tailbone under. The other one is your knees will sink in. We don't want that, so push your knees further out. From here, as low as you've sunk, bring the hands into a namaste prayer at your chest. Sink a little lower. For those that want a little bit more, and again, ego moments, don't take them if you don't need them. We don't need injuries. But if you want some more and you want to challenge yourself, pick up your right heel. Make sure you sink lower. Now put it down. Pick up your left heel. Make sure you still sunk lower. Don't tip forward. And put it down. Let's go all the way if you're ready for it. Pick up both heels. And I did this for a friend the other day who called me a witch. So holding here for 3 more breaths. You've been holding it a long time, I know, keep going. 2 more breaths. And on the 1, lowering both heels and slowly rising up. Oof. Okay, I'm sure it's not just me. I can definitely feel my, Joey's saying he can feel it. I can definitely feel it. Let's swap to the other side and we'll repeat what we just did. So, we're tucking in that back toes. 45 if you're really flexible. For the rest of us, just give them a little tuck in. Pointing our right foot out, nice and straight. We check how far our feet have landed, so we're not sort of too bound up or very far apart. Wrists, ankles, that's what you should see. Feels good? Excellent. All right, we're going to come into that warrior 1. So our hands will come up, our feet, and we're going to bend that front right knee. Our hips are going to face the front. Feeling that warrior 1, sink lower. Check to see that you've got a 90-degree angle at the front. Your knee isn't going anywhere near your toes. Good adjustment, Joey. And we're going to make sure that we've opened up through our chest. Holding this for 3, 2. And on the 1, we're going to come into warrior 2. Open up through, hands come out wide. Our hips are going to come back to face me. It's going to feel like a nice twist here. We're looking out over our right hand. Sink into that front leg. The body's naturally cheated, I'm sure of it. Tuck that tailbone under. Sink lower again. Holding for 5. Pinch that pencil, both shoulder blades, pinkies are coming towards each other. 3, 2, raise the arms up, don't let them sink. And on 1, we're going to straighten that front leg, give it a tiny bit of reprieve. We're going to come into that Trikonasana, that triangle pose. So from here, remember we bump the hips back towards your left leg. Like someone's grabbing me off camera, we're going to lean as far forward as we can. As far as we can, and then we dial it down, windmilling the arms down. Opening up through the chest. Now again, the temptation to want to touch the floor, check if you can actually get more from this pose in not doing that. So open up through the chest. Make sure that tailbone is tucked under. We don't want it pushing back. Holding for 5, 4, look to that extended arm. 3, 2, and on the 1, bring both hands up. We're almost framing the front, coming into that high lunge. Maybe bring that foot that's been tucked in, you can really extend that down. High lunge, sink into that front foot, open up through the chest. Make sure that you're not leaning forward. So if you are, lean a little bit further back. You should feel a nice stretch through that hip flexor on that side. We're going to come into that warrior 3, that floating position we did. So if you're an intermediate student, go for it. Jump into that position now. For the rest, we're going to follow together. So you're going to take, if you're a beginner, just a tiny step forward. Give you a little bit of balance. I'm going to jump back in so you can see it properly. A little bit of balance here. Get that drishti, that point of focus that you're going to look for. Take a tiny step forward and then start to kick that back leg up. Engage those glutes. Back leg kicks up. Maybe bring those hands into your chest in a Namastay prayer position. Point the back toe. Kick it up. And if you're an intermediate student or anyone that's able to do this, put your hands on your hips and check to see if your hips are facing flat towards the mat. When you do check, your back leg might go down. It's fine. Just roll back into this position, come back and meet us in, and then place your hands at your chest. If you want a bit more, hands out in front. If you want even more, dial them back like you're a plane. Holding for 3, 2, and on the 1, placing that back foot down. Whew. Okay, I'm sweating. Who said yoga's easy? All right, bring both hands down to frame that front foot. We're going to bring them both back into our plank position. And this one, check. Spread your hands nice and wide. Arm my wrists underneath my elbows, underneath my shoulders. Have I got a nice straight line all the way down my body? From here, we're going to finish our flow that we started. So you're going to do a yogi push-up or a chaturanga. So as we lower down, don't rush, you'll find that your elbows should just scooch past your ribs, lowering down, don't rush. Release at the floor, untuck the toes, pushing up into your cobra. Open up through the chest. Maybe check, am I pushing so much into my hands? Just take a little bit of weight off your hands, maybe lift them up. Placing them back down. Tucking those toes. We're going to push back up, rolling through into downward facing dog. In this one, just check your posture. Hands are nice and wide. We've got our elbow creases facing each other. I've released any tension in my neck. I'm looking between my feet. My feet are hip distance or a little bit further apart. I'm pushing my chest towards the mat. My tailbone is dialing up and I'm pushing my heels down towards the mat. From here, we're going to come into pigeon. Right foot leads. So transfer your weight to your left foot. Right foot comes up behind you. Then you're going to bring that right knee to right wrist. Anywhere near there. And then sit back a little bit. So from this position, if you're an advanced yogi, you'll have this 90-degree angle. Don't push it. Let's be nice to our knees because you definitely need them. So from here we're going to come into that proud pigeon pose, which is you really open up through the chest, and then we're going to come down into any position that feels nice. So you can walk your hands forward, and as you do so, find what feels good. Potentially you might find that putting your head towards the mat is a nice piece of respite. Remember your breath in these positions. Nice restorative pose, pigeon pose. You hear people talk about this one as the sleeping swan. Yoga in its terms. I find this one as well, just a slight rocking or rolling, just to release all through the glutes there. Feels quite nice. We'll hold this for 4 more breaths. 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. And on the 1, we're going to carve a line with our nose. Nose leads first. Bit of weight into our hands. Coming back up into that proud pigeon pose. We're going to place our hands flat into the mat. Tuck the back toes under. Pushing up. Releasing that leg back into your downward facing dog. Pedal it out. And then we're going to repeat on the other side with our left leg. So weight comes into our right leg. Kicking the back leg back. Bringing the knee up towards our left wrist. And then just sliding ever so lightly back. Coming up onto your tips of your fingers. Nice proud pigeon. We rock through on this one. And then as we walk it forward ever so gently, wherever you feel comfortable. It might be that you just come down onto your elbows today. It might be that you walk your elbows a little bit further. It might be that you walk your hands all the way out and then release your head to the mat. Again, no one can see you, you're doing yoga at home, but please just don't take the one that you think, oh, this is what it has to look like. I've definitely spent my time in pigeon being like, I hate this position. Why is this restorative? So don't worry if you're there with me. Holding for 5 breaths. 4 breaths. 3 breaths. 2 breaths. Last one. And as you inhale, leading with the nose, rolling up. Bit of weight back into the hands. Coming back into your proud pigeon. From here, just bump your hips to the side. So bump your hips to the left. And we're going to dial our legs around. So you'll find that your feet should be out in front. If that completely missed you, just dial your legs around in the front, there's no problems. So we're just going to come into all of our positions that involve abs, and you know this is my favourite. So if you're over it and you think, Christine, no, I've had enough, that was hard enough on the legs, just a tiny bit of abs, be with me here, otherwise I'll join you on the mat. I'm going to come into boat pose, so releasing both of your feet onto the mat, just flat to the floor there. You're going to bring both of your hands out in front like train tracks. Scooping that lower belly in, I might tuck my little belly in there. Scooping your lower belly in, we're going to lift up your right, lift up your left, check your hands, and sort of in line with your legs there, flex the toes. This is our high boat. This may be enough for you. Here you might be thinking, oh, my abs have never fired so much. Open up through the chest. Make sure your shoulders aren't sneaking up towards your ears. Bring them back down, open through the chest. For anybody that wants a bit more, again, ego moments for my intermediate students, let's do some high to low boats. So legs come down, legs come up, legs go down, legs come up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 3 more. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, One more, inhale, exhale, hold it. From here, if you want a little bit more, we're going to take the legs out and hold. Holding for 5, 4, point those toes, 3, 2, and on the 1, let them down. Nice little bit of abs. Alright, I think it's time we lay down, yeah? If you want, join me. I'm just going to roll down really slowly for 10, 9, I know no one's joining me, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the 1, releasing down. Oh, I've definitely got a sweat on today. It's good. Give yourself a nice big stretch. Arms extend above the head. Point the toes. Really extend like you've just woken up. We're going to do just the tiniest little bit of stretch before we jump into some more relaxing. I think with all of that leg work we did, we'd be remiss not to do a nice spinal twist. So starting with your right knee, bring it into the chest, really pull it in. Make sure you relax your shoulders back towards the mat. With your left hand on top of the right knee, we're going to dial it across the body, releasing it down wherever it lands. Now in this position, I do not make pretty shapes in the spinal twist range. When it comes to anything spinal related, I don't make pretty shapes because of my injury. But look towards your right hand. Try and keep both of your shoulder blades touching the mat. Tiniest little bit of pressure with your right hand. The 3 breaths. 2 breaths. Last one. As you inhale, try and use your abs rather than just moving from your hips. Bring that leg back towards the midline of the body. Give it one last hug in towards the chest. Then release it down to the mat. Bringing the left knee in. Hug it in towards the chest. And then with your right hand on top of the left knee, dial it across the midline of the body, bringing it down wherever it lands. Extending your left hand out, looking towards your left hand. In this position, if you can see your bent knee, you're looking the wrong way. You'd be surprised how many times I see that. Just look towards that left hand, your other left if you're looking the wrong way, and keeping both of your shoulder blades towards the mat. We'll hold this for 4 breaths, 3 breaths, 2 breaths. Last one. Again, using your abs, really roll that knee back in towards the midline. Give it one last hug towards the chest. Bring both knees in towards the chest. Hug them in. Maybe give yourself a nice little roll, a bit of lumbar spine massage here. For those that want a little bit more, you might want to make a bind here wherever your hands land, and then bring the nose in towards the knees. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Release the head back to the mat. Extend both legs out long. We're coming into what's called Shavasana, so your corpse pose. And if you've done a class with me before, you'll know that corpse pose doesn't mean statue pose. So in this position, if you find throughout any of the Shavasana that you're uncomfortable, please move. There's no need to sit there and think, oh God, my back is killing me, because that would have been me in previous lives. So with this one, let your legs just, they just flow to the side. So your feet will just open up. You'll place both of your hands away from the body. So the temptation is to stay small. Get them out wide so you can really sink that back across the mat. From here, the tiniest of tilts of your pelvis towards your face will actually mean that you'll feel a nice connection between your lower back and the mat. You want to feel that nice flush. That'll stop you feeling any pain laying in this position. That said though, if you do feel a bit of pain, or you're like me and you have a back injury that likes to make sure that you're aware that it's still happening, bring both of your feet as wide as the yoga mat. Tip that pelvis just slightly towards your face, and that your knees come in to kiss at the center. Same thing again, hands out wide, palms facing up. For me today, I feel like I'm on a roll. My back's been good. So I'm going to let both of my feet just fall to the side, hands facing the mat. If you haven't done so already, just closing the eyes. Now let's focus on our breath. Take one really biggest breath you've taken all day through the nose. And then an exhale through the mouth. And again, inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. One more. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Just feel like the entirety of your body will be released of stress. Just let it all go. Focus on your forehead and the skin of the face. Just try and relax it. Breathe into that area. And then release. Place a focus on your jaw. It's an area we store a lot of stress and tension. As you inhale, breathe into that area. And as you exhale, release. Place a focus on your neck and on your shoulders. Be curious if there's any tension or tightness stored there. As you inhale, breathe into that area. And as you exhale, release. Place a focus on your back, particular tension on your lower back. Be curious if you feel any tension or tightness there. As you inhale, breathe into that area. And as you exhale, release. Place a focus on your feet, on your heels, on your arches and on your toes. Just be conscious of the mood of your feet, if they feel tight or sore. As you inhale, breathe into that area. And as you exhale, release. Just do a quick scan down your full body. Be curious of any tightness that you might be storing, any tension that's being held. Try and send some breath to each one of those areas. If you find somewhere that feels just a bit tight, take a nice inhale. And then send the breath there to release. Just feel yourself sinking onto the yoga mat, really melting. Using your breath just to help you sink further. Long inhales, long exhales out. Just become aware of any noises around you. Of yourself lying on the yoga mat. Just return the tiniest bits of energy to the body. Need to just tiny movements. Wiggle your toes and your fingers. The movements are so small that others probably wouldn't notice. Just return a little bit of energy to the body. And then roll your head left ear to left shoulder. Feel that nice stretch the side of the neck. And as you inhale, turn to neutral. Right ear, right shoulder. Right, nice stretch. And as you inhale, back to neutral. Take your arms overhead. Give yourself a really nice full body stretch. Extend the arms long, extend the legs long. Oh, feel some energy return to the body. Bring the knees in, keeping your eyes closed. Just a gentle rock back and forward here. You bring the knees a little into the chest. And then you're going to roll towards your right hand side. Rolling the legs over, coming into that fetal position that we like to sleep in. Take a big inhale and exhale. One more, inhale and exhale. Place some weight into that left hand, pushing up, coming into that comfortable cross-seated position. Keep your eyes closed if possible. Just check your posture in your seated position. Make sure that you're sitting tall, you're pulling through that crown chakra. You've given yourself length through the lower body. Shoulders are rolled back and down. From here, take an inhale and a long exhale. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart center. Bow the head ever so slightly. Take an inhale and exhale. Rub the palms together. Feel that heat, that yogic energy. When you feel that warmth, place them over your closed eyes, the palms over your closed eyes. Blink your eyes open. Underneath your palms, become aware of the light. And as you inhale, upon your exhale, rub that warmth over your scalp, down your neck, down your shoulders, across your lower back, over your thighs, they worked hard today, over your shins, and then finishing at your feet and toes. A big thank you to your body for helping you practice today, for staying with you throughout that practice, and allowing you to practice again tomorrow. As always, hands together at your heart center, raising them to your third eye, going forward, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you guys. I hope everyone enjoyed that one. 45 minutes is a quick roll through another 60 minute, but I get we're all working to time restraints. So let me know how you found it.